Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Super Sports Central. Today, we're going to be going over my Week 7 UFL power rankings. So, briefly recapping Week 6, the Stallions destroyed the Showboats, winning 39-21. The Battlehawks beat the Roughnecks 22-8. The Panthers beat the Renegades 28-27. And finally, the Defenders beat the Brahmas 18-12. So, getting into this week's rankings, beginning at number 8, we have the Arlington Renegades. They're at number 8, as expected. It's no surprise there. They're 0-6, the worst team in the league, and they lost to the Panthers this week by a score of 28-27. The Renegades lost on a walk-off field goal for the third time this season, as they also lost to the Battlehawks in Week 2 and the Defenders in Week 3 the same way. The Renegades actually had a chance to win this game, as they led 24-16 heading into the fourth quarter, as well as 27-25 with about 3 minutes remaining, but they couldn't end up getting the win. Offensively, the Renegades were good at scoring 27 points, and they were good on the ground, rushing for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns, but defensively, the Renegades struggled again, allowing 28 points and not being able to secure the win, as they allowed the Panthers to get into field goal range at the end of the game. But the Renegades, they fall to 0-6 on the season, and at this point you start to wonder, are they ever going to win a game? Coming in at number 7, we have the Memphis Showboats. So the Showboats are moving down from number 6 to number 7, and while the Showboats and Roughnecks are both bad at 1-5, I think the Showboats have been worse. Because the Showboats, they've lost 5 straight games, and have lost 4 games in a row by at least 15 points, and they haven't been that competitive. Now, the Showboats' offensive line is a key problem, but it is far from the only problem on this team. The offensive line was a problem again this week, allowing 3 sacks, and they've allowed 28 sacks on the season. But outside of the offensive line, quarterback Case Cookus has not lived up to my preseason expectations, as he has not played very well. He needs to make a lot quicker decisions, and is holding the ball for way too long. And then, defensively, the Showboats' defense is really bad, as they have allowed at least 30 points in 4 consecutive games, and have the worst scoring defense in the UFL, allowing 28.5 points a game. So, there's a lot of problems with this team. Now, as far as this week went, they got destroyed by the Stallions, losing 39-21. The offense did manage 21 points, which is the most any team has scored against the Stallions, but 12 of those 21 points came during garbage time once the game was already over. Now, the Showboats didn't do a ton offensively, throwing for just 180 yards and rushing for 59 yards. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they were terrible, 39 points, and just got destroyed by Adrian Martinez. The Showboats need to turn things around. They're at 1-5, number 7 in my power rankings. Coming in at number 6, we have the Houston Roughnecks. So they actually move up 1 spot from number 7 to number 6, but as I explained a minute ago, it's really just the Showboats moving down. But the Roughnecks, they're also 1-5, but they lost to the Battlehawks this week by a score of 22-8, and I think that game is a little bit closer than the final score may suggest. Now, the Roughnecks weren't terrible, but they also weren't great. The offense struggled, scoring just 8 points, and had just 210 total yards, but I thought the defense was solid against a great Battlehawks offense, holding them to just 22 points, which is their second lowest point total of the season. But the Roughnecks need to play better, there's no question about that. But their defense isn't terrible, and I think if their offense can step up down the stretch of the season, they could be a team that could maybe play spoiler against a couple of teams. But the Roughnecks at number 6. Number 5, we have the Defenders. They've remained at number 5, even though they did end up getting a much-needed win against the Brahmas. They ended up winning 18-12. And this was a much-needed win for DC for 2 reasons. 1, they just needed a bounce-back game after getting destroyed by the Battlehawks. And 2, the Defenders are now only 1 game behind the Brahmas for the second playoff spot out of the XFL conference. But the Defenders' offense was good in this game. Jordan Tiamu was solid, finished with 179 passing yards and a touchdown. And on the ground, they were also effective, as the Defenders as a team ran for 115 yards and a score. But I was really impressed by the Defenders' defensive play this week. The defense had struggled coming into this week, but they held a good Brahmas offense to just 12 points, which is a season low for the Brahmas, plus they forced 2 turnovers, and were amazing against the pass, allowing just 79 passing yards. But the defenders, after a much-needed win, keep pace in the playoff race, and they enter at number 5. Number 4, we have the Michigan Panthers. So the Panthers remain at number 4 after a 28-27 win over the Renegades to improve to 3-3. The Panthers won on a walk-off field goal from kicker Jake Bates, who was amazing as usual. Bates drilled 5 field goals, including a 60-yarder before halftime and a 42-yard field goal for the win. But the Panthers' offense was good, scoring 28 points, and they were pretty balanced, as Danny Etling threw for 202 yards and a touchdown, and on the ground they ran for 94 yards and a touchdown. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, I didn't think the Panthers played that well. They weren't as good as you would have expected, because this is one of the better defenses in the league, and they allowed 27 points and 291 yards. Now, a reason the defense struggled is they struggled up front. They didn't stop the run, allowing 111 rushing yards and 5 yards per carry, but they also couldn't get pressure on the opposing quarterback, as they finished the game with just 1 sack, and Luis Perez looked way too comfortable in the pocket. But while this wasn't the prettiest win for the Panthers, a win is a win, and they're now firmly in control of the second playoff spot in the USFL. Panthers at number 4. Coming in at number 3, we've got the Brahmas. So despite the loss, they're going to remain at number 3. They lost to the Defenders 18-12, but I still think they're the 3rd best team in the UFL. The Brahmas offense struggled, scoring just 12 points, which is the season low, and they really struggled to throw the ball, as quarterback Quentin Normandy had just 79 yards and a touchdown. But the Brahmas did make up for that on the ground, specifically running back Josh Lovett. Lovett finished with a UFL record 153 yards on 6.7 yards a carry, and he now actually leads the league in rushing yards with 348. And the Brahmas as a team ran for 200 yards. Now, moving to the defensive side of things for the Brahmas, they were solid, allowing 18 points, and they put the team in a position to win. The offense just played their worst game of the season by far, scoring just 12 points, and the Brahmas fell to 4-2 on the season, but the Brahmas still at number 3. Coming in at number 2, we have the Battlehawks. So the Battlehawks remain at 2 after beating the Roughnecks by a score of 22-8. The Battlehawks started off slow with a scoreless first quarter, but then the offense picked up. Quarterback A.J. McCarron played a nice game with 255 yards and 3 touchdowns, as well as an interception. But it's a good thing McCarron played a good game, because the Battlehawks did not have much success running the ball, rushing for just 32 yards. Now, the Battlehawks defense was also great, allowing just 8 points and 210 total yards, as the Battlehawks improved to 5-1 and have won 5 games in a row. They're at number 2. And coming in at number 1, no surprise here, it is the Stallions. They remained at number 1 after a dominant 39-21 win over the Showboats. The Stallions were great. They're now the league's only 6-0 team. But as far as this game goes against the Showboats, there's 2 words to describe it. Adrian Martinez. Martinez was insane, as he started back-to-back games for the first time this season, and he was amazing. He finished the game with 369 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns. Both those stats are league highs for a single game. Plus, he added 25 yards on the ground. But Martinez showed he can be a great passer, as well as what he can do with his legs, although he didn't really run a ton in this game. But after this game, and the performances Martinez has had as the starter, I don't know if the Stallions can go back to starting Matt Corral, because with this performance, I think Martinez might have just locked up the starting job for the remainder of the season, and I think he should be the Stallion starter moving forward. Now, outside of Adrian Martinez, Stallions receiver Kevin Austin had a breakout game with 4 catches for 108 yards and a touchdown, and that includes an 80-yard score. And then defensively for the Stallions, they allowed a season-high 21 points, but I wouldn't be concerned. Most of those points were garbage time points, as the Stallions are now 6-0, and next week's game between the Stallions and Battlehawks could definitely be a championship preview. But those are my Week 7 UFL Power Rankings. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn notifications. I do my best to post as often as possible. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, and why. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn notifications. I do my best to post as often as possible. And I will see you in the next video.